Coming up in today's video, I kill some cows, then I kill some red cows, and then I steal some hay. Hello and welcome back to another Minecraft Let's Play video by me, FoxyNoTail, here on the truly Bedrock survival server. Today we're going to be building 3 useful things, but before we get to that, let's have a look at all the things that I've been doing since the last video. 5,000 days have now passed on the server, and with that it was time to reflect on where we were at, what farms we'd made, what items we were generating, what farms we needed, and what structures we also needed to bring us in more items, and I did all that in the form of making a book. However, in order to display the book, I needed a lectern, which was tricky to get because I didn't have any leather. So I went and killed some cows. After killing cows, making a lectern, and displaying my amazing book, I then looked into my sand chest and felt very sad. So, feeling sad, I thought I'd go and pick myself up by heading over to the rocket shop to check on the profits. And mostly it was dumb, which we don't want. So I thought, I know, I'll go over to the totem shop and check on the profits. And most of that was also dumb. So I gave up on trying to feel happy and decided to go over to a desert in order to mine many sands. However, on my way there, I found a mushroom island that was outside of the world border and decided to kill some red cows for more leather and many beefs. While I was killing those cows, I suddenly came up with a good idea. You see, mushroom cows are extremely fast spawning in mushroom biomes because literally nothing else can spawn here. So, if I was to build a trident killer right here with the base being mycelium and then just go a few blocks in the sky so I'm limited to spawning space to just the trident killer, will it be efficient enough considering there will only be 4 spaces where the mushrooms can actually spawn? And I'm sure you can already guess, but the answer was a resounding no. It didn't work at all. After spending a little bit of time making a very basic trident killer and then working out the perfect place to AFK above it, I sat there and waited for 5 minutes watching absolutely nothing spawn at all before deciding it was a bad idea. So I moved on by going back to my original plan of going sand mining. On arriving at the desert, I needed to sleep, but I didn't have a bed, so I thought I'd go and share a bed with a villager, only to find that villager was dead, but also alive. I killed the undead villager, took his bed, and proceeded to sleep. Then in the morning, I was feeling peckish, and for breakfast, I wanted carrots, potatoes, and many wheat. So I raided the village, stealing all of its crops, before settling down for a sand mining time-lapse. So during that time lapse, I actually gathered 4 shulker boxes worth of sand, which I then took home to smelt in my furnace. And then I realized I only have 1 furnace, and it was going to take a very long time. So I needed to do something else, and I had an idea. So going over to that mushroom biome has got me thinking. I need a passive mob farm. As it says in my book, I need a passive mob farm, and one of the reasons for that is leather. The other reason is that I'm kind of a little bit sick of just eating cooked fish. I would like to eat either golden carrots or steak because both of those are pretty good. Now, the mushroom biome we went to today is very much outside of the world border, which is no good. However, there is one within the world border, and it's not actually that far away. However, I've no idea if anyone's claimed it yet. I really should have kept my eye on the number of rockets I had before I set off. I think there is a chance I'll just about make it. Yes, I've got 1 rocket left, and I made it all the way here. And this is a good-sized mushroom island. Now all I got to do is look for signs of life. Okay, so there is a farm of some sort over here, a bamboo farm up in the sky. This way on, I've no idea whose this is, but that is very, very close to this mushroom island. There are markers in the floor, but there doesn't look like there's anything going on over here. But with that being so close, I should probably ask the other members first before I set up camp over here. So looking back at the book with the passive mob farm or the mushroom farm up in the air at this particular moment in time, I think it's probably a good idea to concentrate on something else instead of a farm. And I'm thinking about these things. I need some structures. I need a decent furnace because currently I'm smelting literally everything through this one single furnace. And I could do with a basalt generator because I never have any basalt, and a cobblestone generator because I'm going to need a lot of cobblestone, and I'd like a concrete maker, although I don't need one of those right now. So I think I can probably just about squeeze all three of these things out in today's episode. Promises, promises, 3 builds in one episode. Can it be done? Who knows? But before we start, I'm going to be needing something that I should have, but I can't find. So normally when I'm building, I like to have a little bit of scaffolding to get to those hard to reach areas. However, the shulker box worth of scaffolding I made earlier on in the season has completely vanished. I've no idea where it's gone. I assume at some point when Slack and I have been building together, he's perhaps picked it up by mistake. But yeah, it's gone. So I need some more scaffolding. Oh, jeez. Well, I thought I'd come over to the industrial area just to check the shulker boxes because I know I've got a lot over here. And looking through there, we've got the string from the spider farm, but absolutely no bamboo and no scaffolding here. What I have noticed, though, is that I do already have a ridiculous amount of cobblestone. So there's nearly 2.5 double chests there, and I've got another shulker of it here. And nipping back home quickly, you can see that I've got nearly 2 more double chests of it there and another shulker box of it there. And in the area that I do all of my mining, I have another 6 double chests of it here. So thinking about it, I probably don't need a cobblestone generator, which means now we're only going to be making 2 farms, which is a whole bunch easier. However, I did promise you 3 things, so I guess I should show you the first one, which is this automatic bamboo creating machine, which just happens to fit conveniently in this little area here. And if I flick this lever, you'll see it goes absolutely bananas, creating more bamboo than the hopper can actually pick up, which is good news because I like things to overflow. Look at this go. This is ridiculous. It's the bestest bamboo farm you've ever seen. It's probably going a little bit quick, if I'm being honest with you. Underneath this convenient block here, we have the redstone clock. And if I tweak these repeated times a little bit, we can get that going at a more reasonable speed, which means the hoppers could actually keep up with how much this thing's generating. And it's a really simple system. There are 8 pieces of bamboo, each one sat on a piece of grass, each one with a dispenser next to it full of bone meal and some pistons above them. They get bone mealed, and they get broken, and most of them, some of them, fall into the water, and they go into the hoppers. You can see there's an awful lot not falling into the water, and I don't care, because this farm creates many, and I've got more bone meal than I could shake a stick at. You may also notice this one over here and that one there are not growing, and that's because I haven't given the bone meal system actually enough time to transfer enough bone meal in there to make it work. Because I've rushed doing this farm and haven't thought it through properly. At the back of the system, although very difficult to get to because it's a tight squeeze, there's a hopper minecart that is above a load of hoppers which go into the back of the dispensers. The problem is the hopper minecart doesn't stop for long enough underneath the chest, which has the bone meal in, to actually pick up enough to deposit it all. So what will happen is the bone meal will fill up in the first few dispensers first, and eventually they will all get loaded up, which is absolutely fine because I don't plan to run this thing for very long periods of time because it creates a ridiculous amount of bamboo in no time at all. So should I have spent more than 5 minutes making this, possible improvements would be another hopper minecart underneath the grass to pick up all of those bits that have fallen off, and perhaps just a slightly more elaborate system at the back to get the bone meal in a little bit more efficiently. But as I say, I don't really care about it being any better than it is because it already generates more stuff faster than the hoppers can pick it up. So let's give it a 2-minute rate test and see what we get. And there goes the alarm. It is time to stop the machine. We've got a reasonable amount of bone meal that is overflowing. Even at that slow clock speed, the system can't keep up with how much bone meal is produced. Okay, so in 2 minutes, we got 768 pieces of bamboo, which is just over 12 stacks. Or in terms of chests, that is nearly 14 chests worth, or 23,000 items per hour. And that's not including the bits that got stuck and left. So yeah, I'm very happy with that. Let's move on to build number 2. So build number 2 is going to be one of my big rotating furnace arrays, and that's going to go in this chunk here, which means we're going to have to dig out a lot of the ceiling, which means we're going to need some scaffolding. So thankfully with this farm running, we've got plenty of bamboo, and I've now got it on the slowest it will possibly go to try and get this hopper to keep up with it a little bit better. If I grab some string, I can make myself a whole bunch of bamboo. Nice. Scaffolding, that's what I said. You didn't? Pretty sure I did. Pretty sure you didn't. So after arguing with myself, I then made many scaffoldings, and I used them inside of that chunk to help me dig out the ceiling. Then, out of the blue, there was a visitor. No, I haven't actually traded with the Wandering Trader at all this season. Last season, I did quite a lot of trading for all of the mini blocks, and we do have new mini blocks this season. But for some reason, I'm not interested. I just don't like you. Go away, get out of it. With the Wandering Trader dealt with, it was time to crack on, which meant many more digging out the ceilings, many more getting wet, and many more picking up lots of junk items that I didn't really want. After finishing that and tearing down the scaffolding, it was time to start building. So I started by placing down a double chest with 2 rows of hoppers going into the back of it, and then, just because I could, I put in another double chest with another 2 rows of hoppers going into that. I then started on the furnace rings themselves, each one having 8 furnaces along and 8 furnaces tall, with a total of 25 furnaces per ring. Then it was just a case of putting in the pistons and wiring up the redstone, which can be a little bit of a spaghetti mess on a furnace array like this, but I got it sorted in a relatively quick amount of time. What I didn't do in a relatively quick amount of time was to build the clock. The clock for one of these furnace arrays needs to be solid and the timings need to be perfect, and that means it takes up a lot of space. So I dug out the floor so we had more space underneath, proceeded to put the clock together, and then spent a long time working out the spaghetti to get everything linked up to exactly the right place, without it overlapping each other or joining together. Eventually that was all done, the clock was working so I could put the lid back on it and then just finish off the build with a couple of input and output chests and a few stairs here and there to make life easier for us to get up and down. And there we go, a marvel to behold. This amazing rotary furnace array consists of 50 furnaces altogether. It's not the biggest one I could build, but it's enough. And it works a treat. We have a fuel chest to the left here and items chests to the right there, and basically as the furnaces rotate they will fill up with fuel and items. So I guess I'm going to need some fuel and items. And what better fuel than this that I prepared earlier? That's right, scaffolding. One of the best fuels in Minecraft Bedrock Edition, burns for absolutely ages, smelts tons of items, and is very, very cheap to make. Let's chuck all of that in there, and you will see as those rotate, they start getting items in. So then when you click on them, they've all got fuel in, which is great. So we'll let that fill up with fuel for a little bit while I go and grab some sand to put in this thing. And we can probably do to make a little bit more scaffolding now that we've got tons of bamboo. So there we go, a couple of shulker boxes worth of sand that we mined earlier. And if I haven't mentioned already, the reason I prefer this type of furnace is for 2 reasons. One, it uses hardly any hoppers. It's got a bunch of hoppers here, and it's got a few hoppers here for the outtake, which is actually over the top. We don't need that many, but I've added extra in. Compared to the ones where you've got like a million furnaces, all with hopper minecarts and hoppers and rails and stuff like that, this is relatively low on those. And the second reason is it's so easy to build. As long as you get your redstone and your pistons in the right place and you get your clock the right way round, it's so easy. So I suppose we ought to start chucking in some items. Each one of those has got plenty of fuel in there now. Let's chuck in some sand. Okay, here we go. We are going to throw the sand into that there, and we should hopefully see the furnaces start to light as they go round. There we go. This one is lit. And when they get round to the other side, they should have had just about long enough to smelt at least one item. So they should start throwing all of the items into those chests as they come back round the other side. And there we go, they're coming around the other side, and they are starting to deposit the glass into that chest there, which is absolutely fantastic. And look at the speed that that's coming through, that's great. Now I can actually speed this up a little bit. And there we go, with the clock sped up to its absolute fastest, you can see those things are absolutely whizzing around, generating lots and lots and lots of glass very, very quickly. This is good news. So now, with 2 of the 3 of today's builds out of the way, it was time to start working on the 3rd and final build, which would be the Basalt farm. And we're going to do that here in the Nether, just the other side of the portal to the Drown farm, literally because lava travels much faster in the Nether, which means the basalt generator will work much more quickly. So I got to working, which meant digging out an area big enough to put this thing in, making a little path next to the portal so it looked pretty, and then doing some underfloor lighting to keep everything around here nice and bright. Once I'd done that, I could put in the platform and then place down many chests. Into the chests I put hoppers, and then hopper minecarts on top of those hoppers, and then more hoppers underneath the chests, leading to yet more chests. On top of the hopper minecarts I put soul soil, and a couple of blocks above that I put some blue ice, and then next to the soul soil I put some lava. And just like that, the entire thing is done, and there really isn't all that much to this farm. There are basically 5 hopper minecarts on top of 6 hoppers, which go into 6 double chests, which have a hopper line underneath feeding into this chest, so everything will come down to this point here. There is a line of 6 blocks of soul soil, not soul sand, it's soul soil, and a line of 6 blocks of blue ice above that. To the side, down here, we have lava in that hole there, and I've just remembered I need to put blocks up here as well, otherwise we're going to get spillage because Bedrock Edition is fun. There we go. Place a few extra blocks just to try and stop the items from jumping out the top instead of going out the bottom. And the idea here is that when you mine this basalt, the lava will generate more basalt between the blue ice and the soul soil, which is great. However, what's not so great is that in 1.17 they made basalt very slow to mine. It's no longer insta-mine with efficiency 5, which means this farm is substantially slower than it used to be. And the other thing that's not too great is that when we're mining these things, they're actually popping back quicker than we can mine many, which means they're either getting shoved out the top or out the side or back into the lava, and not always into the chests. Now, most of them are going in the chest, but they're not all. So I've got an idea. And the first part of my idea is to get rid of this bottom row of blocks, and then the second part is to grab many hoppers. Did you know that if you have hoppers facing into hopper minecarts, they will transfer through them, and then obviously that will end up where we want it to go. And then we're going to have another row of hoppers on top of there, like that. We're actually going to put 6 buttons up there like that to stop any potential lava spilling out, which it shouldn't because it should turn into basalt. So now the items should be more tempted to spit out of the side instead of going down and go into those hoppers there. Going back up the top, I can see there are still some coming out of the top. So, okay, let's get rid of this line of blocks. And then instead of having these hoppers here, let's have another row of hopper minecarts. And things have not gone my way. When I put the powered rail down, all of the hopper minecarts on the other side poked up. In fact, one of them poked up so high it went in the lava and disappeared. And I need to break it all and start again. Now, if you're having issues with minecart rail linking when it's not supposed to, don't worry, there is a solution, and the solution is simple. All you've got to do is bring it back a little bit further, and now it's going to stay connected to there and not connect to this one instead now. Once you have that one in place, you can then actually go back in and break that one again. And now all you need to do is put on your many hopper minecarts back into the system. There we go. We've now got 2 rows of hopper minecarts all there, which is absolutely great. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some slabs, and I'm just going to put slabs across the top of those ones just to stop, well, again, lava pouring out of there and destroying the hopper minecarts. Now, it shouldn't, because lava should never be able to get out there because it should form into basalt, but this is Bedrock Edition and I don't trust it. So now, all being well, we shouldn't get any blocks popping out the top. They should all go out into those hopper minecarts. Let's find out. Okay, I have mined a few blocks. Let's go on top. There are absolutely none on the top, which means that has been an absolute success. We've got them all in there. The other thing you can do You can glitch them all into the actual soil itself and do it that way. But I've found when you glitch them into there, for some reason, they often end up popping out and you've got to keep resetting them all. So it's not ideal. So there we go. We now have a fully functioning basalt farm that is very, very slow compared to how it was last season. So we're going to need a beacon. Because unlike Deep Slate, which takes forever even when you've got Haste 2, Basalt is insta-mine when you have a beacon, even in the overworld, which is absolutely fantastic. So we're going to pop a beacon into the nether, and then we're going to have many, many basalts. So putting up a beacon meant tearing down another one because I don't have all that many beacon base blocks, and it also meant doing a little bit of tricky works going up into the nether in order to create a clear path to the nether roof or the bedrock so the beacon beam could shine out. Which was no problem at all because I took the time to go home and make some fire resistance potion just in case I dug up into a lava lake, and I grabbed myself a totem as well just in case a ghast or something like that made me go pop. It took no time at all to get a full beacon in place, and now we've got Haste 2, which should hopefully give us a bit of a better result on the basalt farm. Let's do this. 3, 2, 1, break. Ah, there we go. We're now breaking all of the basalt all the way to the end, getting many, 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 many basalts. This is good news. Okay, I've just run this thing for a couple of minutes. There are no blocks where there shouldn't be, which is good news. There are a few in my inventory, which is absolutely fine, because once they fill up my inventory, they will then go into the system, which is great. And, wow, we've actually got a whole bunch of stuff already in there, which is wonderful news, and there should be more coming down on its way. Oh, look, the hopper line is full. The hopper line is full all the way back to there, so there's 3 full hoppers worth, as well as whatever is in any of these things, which is good news. So today we have achieved many things. We have achieved making a bamboo farm that's too fast for its own good, even though it's not remotely efficient. We've achieved making an incredibly good furnace array, which is pumping out many, many glass. And we achieved making a very, very nice and very, very fast, lossless and very efficient basalt generator that has generated as many, many basalt. So much basalt, in fact, that even after taking a shulker box of it out, it is still coming into the chests after running this farm for less than 2 minutes. So heading home with many, 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 many things in my pocket, I feel today has been successful. We have achieved lots and lots of things. We've got an awful lot of work done all in one episode. I'm soon going to be running out of things to do. Because this season, we have made a lot of farms already. We're only on episode 15, and I've got so many items coming in all of the time that I can't even write any more writing in this book. And quickly editing the book to tick off all of the things we need, there really aren't that many farms or structures left to make. Which is good news, but also bad news. Speaking of good news but also bad news, I did find out who has been building over by this mushroom island. It is indeed Bruno, and Bruno has more plans to work over here, which is bad news if I want this island. However, the good news is that Bruno's a very, very nice person. He said he has no plans for this island, so if I want to make a farm on it, I absolutely can. Which means that next episode there is a high likelihood that we will be making a mushroom farm over at this location. And on that note, that must mean it's time to end. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do leave a like. If you haven't already, please do consider subscribing. And hopefully I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.